it really seems like the heroes that were really bad are trying to become playable, which is really good that BG's is doing that. It seems there's been a fair few good changes, so it's really good. And we're just going to go through it and talk about it a bit. All right, Nefarian, been removed from the Battlegrounds hero pool. Probably haven't seen Nefarian in a match for a while anyway. It's pretty irrelevant. It's probably the right thing to do. Queen Wagtoggle, instead of just giving each minion type 2 attack, it now gives 2 attack, 1 health. I'm very curious to see if this has now made this hero actually playable. So this will be really, really interesting, and I think we might start seeing it. I think this is really strong. Like for early game, I'm not sure about later game, but for early game, I definitely think it's a lot stronger. Curator, start the game with a 1/2 amalgam instead of a 1/1. Listen, it's a little bit stronger for early game. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. I don't think we're going to see too many like extra curator picks or anything like that. And I definitely don't think we're going to, see this make a huge difference apart from saving a little bit of damage at the start of a game, maybe. Couldn't see it affecting curator's win rate. Hook Tusk has gone back to its original hero power, except it now costs 1. So Hook Tusk originally was remove a friendly minion and discover one from a tavern tier lower, but it was too broken and it cost nothing. And then it was nerfed to remove a friendly minion, get a random one from a tavern tier lower, so it was a randomized hero power. It actually destroyed the hero, and now they've changed it. And I think this is probably balanced now, to remove a friendly minion and discover it. So back to the original hero power, and it costs 1. It won't be broken like it used to be, but I definitely think it's more balanced. I'd be very curious. I'm very much looking forward to playing with a lot of these new heroes now that they've been buffed or nerfed, if any are nerfed in the way. But Rat King, instead of +1/+2, it's +2/+2 when you buy the specific minion type. I don't think there was anything wrong with Rat King at +1/+2. I think it was quite strong if you high rolled. Now I think if you high roll, it's just even stronger. It's a hero of, if you high roll, you're already strong, but if you low roll, the hero power does nothing anyway. So it's one of those heroes that could be like, really, like it's the same as it was. It could be really good. Now it could just be even better, or it's still going to be bad. You really have to high roll for this hero to be even remotely good. Rakinishu, its original hero power was give a random friendly minion stats equal to your tavern tier. It's now been buffed to give a friendly minion stats equal to your tavern tier. So it's now targeted, the hero power. It has actually made this a lot better. You can now pick your strong Divine Shield minions and stuff like that to target this, to use this targeted. And like if you're tier 4 or tier 5, you're putting +4/+4 or +5/+5 on a minion of your choice. So the hero's become a lot better than it was. I'd be real curious to see if it's going to be strong. I'm not sure. Definitely has the ability to be there, I think. George the Fallen. Listen, I already think George was like not terrible. Like it wasn't a bad hero. I know it was like bottom tier or whatnot, but like George has still the unique ability of having Divine Shield poison minions by using hero power. I think the buff to making it 2 mana is like insanely good. And I think we're going to see a lot more of George played now. This is really strong. Ysera. I know Ysera was a lower tiered hero, But me personally, I have very good results with Ysera, like really, really strong results. And now that this buff is, it was at the start of your turn, add a dragon to Bob's Tavern. Now it's Bob always offers an extra dragon whenever you refresh the tavern. It's insane. So every roll you get a dragon. I think that this hero is going to be, and I can't wait to play. I think it's going to be busted, and it's just going to be insanely good. Also, if my results were strong already, they can't be anything but stronger now. But I do think you're going to see a lot of Yseras in lobbies now, especially when I still think dragons have the ability to be one of the strongest comps. All right, here he is. Oh man! All right, so this I still think it's a terrible hero. I don't know if I'm ever going to think this is a good hero, but. It was definitely not a good or playable hero with a hero power of 2 to discover a secret. I definitely think with effigy being removed and the discover a secret being 1 makes it playable. But I'm just not sure. I can't see it being a pick steal, and I can't see it being anything but bottom tier. It's just not a strong enough hero power to win games. It might get a lot more seconds, thirds, and fourths, though. So it might be a gaining MMR hero in the respect that with effigy removed, you can now get Ice Block a lot easier, and the hero power costs 1. So it'll be real interesting to see if we do see any of this hero in the Battlegrounds. But it might be just a plus EV hero choice to get to third or fourth. I can't see it winning games. Update from yesterday saying it's temporarily removed from the hero pool due to some unintended interactions anyway. So it'll return in a future update. So it looks like we won't see any of that or be able to experiment with that hero temporarily. Galakron's here. It's funny, they've changed his hero power a couple of times now. I would still say that this is a decent buff. Free hero powers are always good, are better than any hero power that costs. It doesn't matter that it doesn't freeze the minion anymore. That's the change. But I still think it's going to be a decent hero. I was it's going to be much more playable in the way that on turn 1 you can actually buy a 2-drop. So it's going to have very strong early game. So I'd be real curious to see if this hero becomes, if you can steamroll with it, I guess is what I'm going for. If it's a hero that allows you to steamroll from the start, it's going to break the game. So it just depends on, if you're going to low roll or high roll minions, stuff like that. But to be able to buy a 2-drop instantly is pretty good. I don't think it was steamroll 8th. I don't think... If you're playing Galakron and you're getting 8th, I think you're not playing it correctly. I think it's going to be at least a 4th or 5th hero if you don't run well. Otherwise, it's going to be better than that. Tess. Refresh Bob's Tavern with minions from your last opponent's warband is what it was. Now it's to refresh it with all of their warband. So even if you're only on tier 2, you still can have their 7 minions. I think that is a really good buff for Tess and actually makes the hero quite playable now. Like I said, a lot of these weaker heroes have now been buffed, and it's going to make the game more balanced and more fun with hero choices, so it should be really good. Elise, the map now costs 2, which is down from 3. Listen, honestly, that is better for Elise. It's a nice little buff, but I still don't think Elise has got to be strong enough hero to compete, in my opinion. I just don't think that's strong enough. Lord Barov now gives 1 gold back on ties. Same thing as Elise. I don't think that's going to be a strong enough buff to make Lord Barov good. It's still not that good for early game. So Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But they're the hero updates now, so that's really good. We're about to get in and start experimenting with them. We'll go through the minion updates real quick. Elementals would no longer be in every match. Thank God for that. They needed to be rotated now, so it's really good that that's going to happen. Wrathweaver, I think this buff for Wrathweaver is really good, by the way. I think really good in the way that it's made demons viable again. I thought demons were already viable, but they need to be played a certain way. Like demons had to be played with Selfless Hero and Gold Grubbers as such. So it was like big minions rather than just demons. So, you're playing Wrathweaver, Floating Watchers, Gold Grubbers, Selfless Heroes, and that's your comp. So in that respect, this is a stronger early game for you not to take damage so you can build that comp better. So I do think this is a really important buff, and it looks better than... it will be better than what it looks. Yoho Ogre. I think this minion has now just turned into the nuts, in my opinion. This is a tier 3 2-8, which I thought was very average at tier 3, to a now tier 2 2-5, which I think is quite strong at tier 2. So I think this is really, really good, especially if you buy it with a South Sea captain. It's a 3-6 at tier 2 is pretty insane. So I think it's quite a good buff for Yoho, and I think it's good for the game and good for Pirates. Not that I think Pirates will be strong enough yet, but it's still well on the way. Iron Sensei's been dropped to a tier 3, which is much better now in this meta. It actually might make the card playable again. It used to be playable and it used to be strong back when the meta was slower. Now it's a lot faster, so dropping the tier for Iron Sensei was really good. So yeah, we might see some play there. South Sea Strong Arm. This has now been dropped to a tier 3 from a tier 4. The stats don't really matter. But to give the 1-1 on the Pirates, it's the same thing, just one tier lower. Listen, I'm not sure. And this one too for Pirates, like you don't buy this minion for the stats. So the stats changes are pretty irrelevant. Also, I think Pirates needed, like how Murlocs have a Cold Light Seer, like Pirates needed something for health. And I just don't feel like this is strong enough to make Pirates viable. I still think they die too easily. So unless they figure out a way to gain health on all your Pirate Warband, I don't think they're going to be playable. Not to win games. Light Fang. At the end of your turn, now it will give each friendly minion type +2/+2. I think this is crazy good. Back to olden day Light Fangs. I also think it's now just made another option instead of just Bran at tier 5. So quite good. Menagerie might be a thing again now. This mixed with some other buffs and stuff is really, really cool. Very curious and very looking forward to playing with Light Fang there. Ginny from tier 5 to tier 6, I think that was well and truly needed to be done a long time ago. So the card is just overpowered. So back to 6 it goes. Also might slow the meta down a little bit. So probably a good thing. Maybe we could actually play the game again and not be dead by turn 7 if someone has a Ginny. So very, very cool. Gar has now been nerfed to a 5-1 instead of an 8-1. It's funny, all the elementals had to get nerfed because they were just steamrolling. So yeah, it's good they did nerf him. So yeah, Gar got nerfed. Not that I think making it a 5-1 is going to make it much different, because generally you're playing Gar, you have a board full of elementals with a little rag, so you're going to be gaining its attack anyway, and the health is still going to gain the same. So that probably won't change much. Lil Rag is such an irrelevant nerf, in my opinion. it doesn't matter if Lil Rag was a 1/1, it would still be a nut minion. So this is irrelevant. You don't buy Lil Rag for the stats. You buy it for what it does. So it doesn't really matter. Admiral is quite an irrelevant buff if you ask me. All it's done is now give your pirates +2/+1 when they attack. You don't ever struggle with attack on your pirates. That's the problem. If it was buffed to give your minions +1/+2, so your health increased, that would be a lot better. But I just don't think this is going to make a difference, honestly. Amalgadon is the last. Now, I believe, and I haven't experimented with it yet, so I'll be real curious in-game, but I do believe that the nerf is that Amalgadons will ignore themselves and other Amalgadons. So, like, the battle cry is been changed to, for each different minion type you have, among other minions, adapt randomly. It's kind of confusing wording, so I'd be real curious as to what that means, but my understanding is it will ignore Amalgadons. So, like, it all is not a minion type. So I'd be real curious to see if that's the case. So yeah, that's... I assume it's been nerfed for some reason, as in, like, something's got to be different. Because I know that the original, it counted itself as a minion type. So I'm just going to assume that this is now not counting itself. So yeah, that is the BG's update on the new patch. We are actually just going to get into it now. But don't forget to click the follow button if you want to keep up to date with everything that we discuss and talk about. And don't forget to follow the stream if you want to come have some fun with us. But yeah, we're going to jump straight on now. And yeah, we'll catch you all soon.